What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of Miami season 4 episode 10. So look, we are back in Miami, okay? Everybody is back home, and Larsa goes to visit Alexia down to her nail bar, her beauty bar, and she's talking to her about Scotty and trying to sell this house. She says Scotty is being a real brat because she wants him to sell the house and he doesn't want to sell the house. And so now, because she's trying to force his hand with selling the house, now he was like, well, you got to send Sydney to me. That's their daughter's name, I believe. Which tells me that Larsa must not have custody of the kids. Because how does he get to tell you what to do with the children unless he has custody or primary custody of the kids? Because at the beginning, the boys are staying with him and the daughter is staying with her. So if he was like, well, send the daughter to me, that tells me that you must not have custody. Okay. But she said that that's how he acts because, you know, he's used to basically being able to get his way with her. And now she won't let him. And she said, you know, I'm at a point where I'm going to live my life the way I want to. I'm going to do what I want to do. And it is what it is. And I'm going to date who I want to date. Because this was after the whole scandal with Malik Beasley and all of that. And I'm going to, you know, and if he's older, if he's younger, I don't care. And she said basically, though, she's going to date a man that's going to take care of her. Because if he ain't going to do nice things for her, then what's the purpose of her dating him? Listen, I can't say I'm mad about that. I'm just going to be real about it. I'm just going to be real with y'all. I can't say I'm going to be mad about that. So then they were also talking about the fact that she feels like she really offended Nicole when she made the comment about the kid, you know, having kids out of wedlock. She was like, you know, I think I really did offend her, you know. So I don't know what you're going to do about it, child. You need to go apologize. She's like, I really didn't mean it like that. Well, you said it. And you did already sort of acknowledge it and say you didn't mean it. But again, y'all know how these people like to turn stuff, mountains, and turn them into molehills, honey. So then we have Lisa going down to visit her husband down to his job. And in light of where we know their marriage is now, I find it to be, these scenes to be very interesting. But she's going through his phone when she first gets there. She's like, I just can't help myself. You know, I'm just nosy. I want to see what's going on. Girl, like I said, don't look before you scared you're going to find. But we find out that she doesn't have a nanny. And she's upset because she's like, who's going to help me take care of these children? And her husband is like, okay, but what you doing all day? She was like, well, it's not like I'm just sitting around not doing nothing. Like, what do you think I do all day? He was like, get your hair done, get your makeup done, get your nails done, get your eyelashes. She was like, I mean, I do all of that, but I mean, that doesn't mean, you know, that I'm not doing anything. Girl. So then she said, well, it's a good thing your parents are coming. And he was like, yeah, my parents are older. They're not coming to take care of the kids. Like, that ain't what they're coming to do. And she was like, I know, but I'm just saying. She said, I mean, but it's really nice. I mean, what child lets their parents come live with them? And I'm like, a lot of people, like, that is the cycle of life. Like, at some point, you're going to be your parents' caretakers. Lord willing, they live to see it. Like, whether they live with you or you put them somewhere. Maybe that's what she meant. Like, instead of living in his house, she put them up somewhere. So I guess she thought that since they were there, they might as well just take care of her. So I don't know. But later on, we see them all going out to dinner together. Lenny with Lisa and the kids and his parents. And she was saying how, you know, in the past, my mother-in-law ain't really like me. We ain't really rock with each other like that. But things have sort of changed a little bit now that I got kids. And, you know, I gave them some grandkids, and so it's a little bit different. I don't think it's different. I think they like their grandkids. I still don't think they like you. I'm just saying. But Lisa she's definitely living a very pampered lifestyle and doesn't accept how pampered her lifestyle is, because they were at dinner and her husband was like, yeah, but in the real world, people deal with these things all the day. And she was like, yeah, but we don't live in the real world. And she was like, I mean, because she was talking about not having to share her room in the Hamptons. And she was asking around the table, I mean, would you want to share your room with strangers? I'm like, these women are not strangers. These are your quote unquote friends. Like, these women are not strangers to you. And she was like, would you want to do that with you? And everybody kind of was like, I mean, I don't see the problem. And even Lenny was like, yeah, I've done it. And she was like, you would share a bed with 3 men? He was like, I've done it. Like, you go on guys trips or whatever. Like, it's not a big deal. And he was like, people do it like in the real world. Well, we're not in the real world. Like, this isn't the real world. So at least she acknowledges that it's some bull hockey that she doing or she got going on, child. I don't know. So then Um. Oh, so yeah, I'm done with them, child. Um. Then we see Lisa hosting Julia and Gertie down to her house. And once again, Julia shows up with eggs. And listen, I know you got a farm, girl. And I can appreciate fresh eggs. But I just don't know how I feel about you just showing up with a dozen eggs at people's house. Like, child, these people are crazy. So anyway, they get to talking. And of course, they're talking about Marisol, and Nicole is saying how she tried to talk to Marisol and tried to make up with her, and Marisol just wasn't having it. She wasn't here for it. She didn't want to hear about it. She didn't want to know nothing about it. Oh, Kiki did too, child. Then they talk about the whole living out of, having kids out of wedlock, and Julia saying how she's offended by it, and Nicole is like, why would she say that? And of course, they had this whole conversation about it and whether they should say something to Larsa about it and how they felt about what Larsa said. Girl, whatever, child. They talked about Lisa too, and Lisa being inconsiderate about different things as it relates to, the trip to the Hamptons and all the different things that happened at the Hamptons. Gertie talked about her charity event, which is later on. It happens later on in this episode. So she does talk about the charity event, and that was that was cool because, like I said, we're going to see the event later on this episode. So they were just kind of venting, and I guess going to figure out when they were going to say something or address it or whatever. So then we have girls' night with Adriana, Adriana, Larsa, and Kiki. And they meet up at a restaurant. I guess they were supposed to go out after they were, they were eating and then they were going to go out. So they get to talking, and Larsa was already saying how Ariana be doing too much. She says too much. She doesn't know when to be appropriate. She's always, because she was still upset with her about the way she acted when they were, at the Hamptons, and, she was kind of acting a fool in front of her people, in front of the, the influencers and stuff like that. So they get to talking, and Adriana starts asking her questions about the Kardashians and why her and the Kardashians fell out. And Larsa was like, look, I don't know, okay? One minute we were friends, the next minute we weren't, and I don't know the whole story. And if she did know the whole story, she ain't about to tell it, okay? So Adriana, I guess that wasn't good enough. So then Adriana starts telling the story about the night that she ran into Kanye West and he was peeing. Now, why she ran into Kanye West while he was peeing, I don't care. But then she wants to start talking about his penis. And Larsa was like, girl, stop. Like, that's a friend of mine. I've known Kanye. I do not want to sit here and have a conversation about what his penis looks like. Like, I don't want to have a conversation. And Adriana was like, but why? What's the big deal? Who cares? It's just his penis. Why? What's the problem? Why are you mad? Why are you getting offended? See, here's the thing. You don't always have to understand why somebody feels the way they feel. But if a friend is saying to you, look, this conversation is making me uncomfortable. I really don't want to engage deeper in this conversation. Girl, let it go. But you want to keep talking and keep asking and keep talking about this man's penis. You kept going and kept going and kept going. Like, it was almost like you were going to force her to have this conversation with you. And it was almost like you thought it was funny. You were like nicking at her because Larsa was telling her, stop, just stop. I don't want to have this conversation. Stop. So, of course, they get to arguing. They get to going back and forth, arguing with each other. Of course, they called each other out their names and everything like that. And finally, Larsa just gets up and walks off. She was like, I'm not doing this. So she gets up and she walks off like, TMI. Too much. I'm not doing it. So then we get to the charity event, okay? It's a fashion show where you can buy the fashions. So it's a fashion show, but the dresses are available for auction. And so you can either buy an item that's at the auction, or you could just make a donation, or you could do both. The event looked really nice. Gertie looked beautiful. Of course, we know this is something that's near and dear to her. She's been talking about it the whole season. The ladies showed up. They looked nice. Everybody was there on time except for Larsa, okay? Now, Larsa was late. They didn't even think Larsa was going to come. So, of course, Adriana took this as an opportunity to tell everybody about how rude Larsa was to her and how mean Larsa was to her. And she was being unreasonable and she was just acting out for no reason, not telling the whole story. So, Larsa finally does show up when the event is damn near over, child. She finally shows up. We found out that the bachelorette party gonna be at the Versace mansion, and it's gonna be overnight. It's gonna be a slumber party. Child, haven't we already done a slumber party this season? Anyway, so Larsa shows up, and of course, the first person she sees is Adriana. That's the first person she runs into is Adriana. And they get to arguing again about the same thing. And Larsa was like, I just need you to understand that when I ask you to stop, I ask you, I don't want to talk about it. Just change the subject. And Alexia was there, and she was like, yeah, like, you got to respect that. When somebody tells you that something makes them uncomfortable, you just have to respect that. And of course, Adriana was like, but what did I say? But what did I do? But what did I say? But what's the problem? What's the big deal? Like, all I said was, and she just kept saying, well, all I said was, girl, everybody is telling you that they're uncomfortable with this. Everybody is telling you, Larsa keeps telling you the same thing. So then she was like, well, you threatened me. And Larsa was like, girl, I ain't threatened you. She was like, yes, you did. You threatened me. And Larsa was like, well, you called me a bitch. Like, we said nasty things to each other. Now, mind you, Gertie is on the other side of the room like, okay, there's a time and place for everything, and this isn't the time or the place. I'm going to need y'all to chill out, and I'm going to need y'all to stop arguing in the middle of my damn event. Now, mind you, the event was, Larsa ass was late. Like, the event had been going on for hours. Larsa showed up at the end. They literally were at the reception after the fashion show, after everything was over with. So Larsa, you really could have stayed home for all of this. Like, I feel like you only showed up to show your face and to argue with Adriana. Although on this one, I'm kind of with Larsa, but of course it turned into a whole Larsa, you think you're the queen bee. You think you can tell me what to say. And for as long as I've known you, you've always thought you were better than me. Now we've turned this into a whole, you think you're better than me. She was like, when I first met Larsa, she told me that she was married to somebody famous. And basically what she was saying to me was that I wasn't as important as her. No. And then she moved out to LA and she got with that Hollywood crowd, and that made it even worse. And Larsa just thinks she's better than us. She just thinks she's better than us. I was like, oh, so this is deeper than that. This is deeper than that. Like, you were purposely getting under that woman's skin. You were purposely trying to give her a hard time because you have a bigger issue with Larsa. Okay, I see it now. This is deeper. This is deeper. Anyway, child, that is pretty much the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I will talk to y'all later. Peace.